Please welcome to the stage United Way President Cher Thompson.
Thank you to all of our community partners for sharing those beautiful photos with us so that we, in turn, may share them with you. If you work for one of our community partners, if you volunteer or serve on a committee or a board for one of our community partners, would you please stand? On behalf of all of those whose lives you make better every day, and behalf of all of us in this room, we thank you for your tireless efforts. It does not go unnoticed. It inspires and it moves others to act. Thank you so very much for all that you do. Today, I have the great opportunity to share with you United Way's 5 bold goals and vision for our community by 2020. But before I jump into them, I want to take just a moment and cover 2 quick points. For those of you that may be wondering, how did we create these goals, I want to share with you that it wasn't just our board and our team coming together. I mean, yes, there was a day-long meeting where we literally got together and put pencil to paper, but that's not what I'm talking about. I think you all know that United Way has gone through numerous changes over the last 5 years, from an investment strategy to one that is much more comprehensive and robust, that allows us and our community partners to focus one person at a time while building a positive social change movement that will impact our entire community. In addition to those changes, we have listened, we have partnered, we have researched, and we have listened to all the anecdotal stories, and we are constantly monitoring what's happening in our community. So it was with purpose and intention that these goals and this vision were created. As the president for the last 5 years, I have inherited an organization that is highly visible, highly credible, and highly adaptable, not to mention a group of committed, dedicated, passionate team members and board leadership. And so, as many of you may know, today is my last annual meeting serving as the president for the United Way, and I thought that it was important for me to share with you that over the last 5 years that we have strived to build upon an already strong foundation and to create a culture of continuous improvement and continuous innovation in all that we do. You see, I believe that innovation does not necessarily mean invention or the creating of something new. I think all too often individuals, organizations, and sometimes leaders get these concepts and these definitions confused. I also believe that innovation isn't something that only exists in a startup company, a tech company, or with any one generation. Innovation, or the ability to refresh and to renew, is something that any organization can accomplish, and it is something that we have strived to achieve in all that we do at United Way. So it was with proven adaptability, accountability, and results, and working toward of instilling a culture of innovation in all that we do. It is through this lens that the board and team built our 5 bold goals and our vision for 2020. Bold. Bold is a United Way of cast clay with a goal to raise $29 million by 2020, using methods that are more than charity to lift people out of poverty, to help people be independent, to help children to succeed, and to reduce hunger and homelessness in our community. Bold because at United Way, we refuse to accept the status quo. Bold because we believe in addressing causes rather than symptoms. Bold because we believe in speaking out and standing up for people in need in our community. Bold is going after problems creatively and strategically. Bold is refusing to be overwhelmed when the problems sometimes seem daunting. and bold is taking action to create the community that all of us want to be a part of. So the first bold goal that I want to share with you today is that with your help, we will reduce hunger and homelessness that exists in our community. Now, as many of you know, our community has been enjoying unprecedented economic growth and opportunity over the last several years. And yet, the number of people that need to access a food bank or a food pantry in our community is actually on the rise. 70% of people needing to access these programs are from working families. Let me say this another way. 7 out of 10 people needing help with food are from working families. For decades, United Way has been investing in food banks and food programs, and we are going to continue to do so. Why? Because they work. They feed hungry people. So sometimes being bold means to stay the course. In 2011, we began investing in the backpack program, which provides a backpack full of food to students on a Friday afternoon who would otherwise go hungry over the weekend. And then we realized these same children that we are feeding all school year long, what happens to them in the summer? Now, if your household is anything like mine, my children are getting ready for summer vacation and they're excited. But imagine if you're one of those students who's been receiving a backpack of food all school year. I bet you're asking yourself, I wonder if I'm going to go hungry this summer. So you know what we did? We listened, we partnered, and we acted. And in 2012, we began the summer backpack program, and now on average, we feed 300 students, 300 children every week, all year long. Now I get it. For those of you that have attended this event before, you're probably thinking, yeah, sure, we've heard about the backpack program, and we've even heard about the summer backpack program. And you know what? That's exactly the point. That sometimes being bold is sticking with what works. United Way is not interested in change for change's sake. Our community partners' work is hard enough, and they need to know that we are going to stand by them and their impactful programs, all while we are searching for innovative solutions to help people be independent in the first place. And I'm going to talk about that in more detail in just a few minutes. So as I said, with your help, our first bold goal is to reduce hunger and homelessness in this community. So let's talk about homelessness. Did you know that the number of people that find themselves living in a state of homelessness has actually doubled in the last 10 years? 81% of the individuals who find themselves in a state of homelessness have actually completed high school, and a third of them are working. And a vast majority of those that aren't working are struggling with a chronic disability or a behavioral health issue. These are people that are living on the bubble of a robust economy. They're working, and yet they are unable to secure safety, a place to call home, which is why United Way is going to continue to invest in our 5 local shelters who work tirelessly to provide temporary housing, all while we are working with them to find permanent solutions for housing in our community. At this time, I want to bring Thomas Hill, our Community Impact Director, to the stage. Tom is going to share with you what we have been working on over this past year alongside of our community partners, and we're now at a place where we are ready to share it with all of you so that we can put it into action in 2016. Please help me in welcoming Thomas Hill. Enjoy.
You know, as the Community Impact Director, I have the opportunity to work alongside of our community partners who are serving individuals and families each and every day in this community, and for that, I am grateful. It's also my role, though, as the director, to understand best practices and research, not only locally, but globally. Because as stewards of public investment, your investment, and moreover of public trust, it is essential that we are utilizing best practices and research when we are making investment decisions. You know, over the past year, United Way has been leading a collaborative group of dedicated professionals and local experts to really develop a first-of-its-kind housing navigation initiative for our community. That work would not have been possible without the input, the expertise, and the dedication of the folks that are listed up on that screen. You know, in order to build a house, you need tools, right? You need a hammer, you need measuring tapes, you need screws and screwdrivers. And in order to address the issue of homelessness, you also need tools. You need a baseline. You need common metrics and outcomes to drive towards. And most importantly, you need a systematic and a unified form of service delivery. And now, while it may not seem very sexy or it may not seem very innovative for me to stand up here in front of 700 plus people and talk about process, what the design team developed, that is bold. And what they will implement later this year will lead to a change and an evolution in the way that we are able to provide services to individuals, and that will lead to a paradigm shift, and it will allow people in this community to attain stable housing quicker and maintain it for longer periods of time. So what does this mean day to day? We are going to work with the most vulnerable, the most chronically hard to house individuals, and we're going to get them housed. You know, many of you maybe have seen some social media posts or some late-night talk show hosts talking in recent past about the issue of housing first and how that solving the issue of homelessness is actually rather simple. You just give folks homes. And while some of those articles have been kind of funny, really I think they are an oversimplified argument, because I want to be very clear with each and every one of you that addressing the issue of homelessness is anything but simple. It takes intention. It takes dedication. It takes really all of us being able to peel back the layers of systematic and generational poverty that exist in the community that have really created the conditions for homelessness to exist. United Way is laser focused on addressing the issue of homelessness. We are committed to creating the conditions necessary and providing the financial resources to solve this issue. By 2020, we want to be able to report back to you, this community, that through our housing navigation initiative, 90% of the individuals we serve will be able to attain and maintain stable housing. This effort will not only allow them to have a quality of life, but frankly, the dignity that they deserve. But this impact will not only benefit just the individuals served, but it's going to benefit our entire community. Well, how, you might ask? By saving all of you, rather, by saving all of us, our entire community, tax dollars that would otherwise be spent on incarceration of these individuals, that would otherwise be spent on unnecessary trips to the emergency room to manage conditions that could be managed if and only that person had a place to call home. United Way is committed to helping individuals while creating the conditions necessary for social change, and that is bold. And while we talk about systems change, and we talk about the benefit to the entire community that this housing navigation project will have, I want to be very clear that the most impact that this initiative will have is on Bob. Bob's a veteran who has served his country honorably, but suffers from PTSD because of experiences that he's had. Bob has struggled with years of addiction and trying to find a place in this community, and who has struggled to get on his feet, but he can't. Because of the Housing Navigation Initiative, now Bob has an advocate. Now Bob has someone to rely on, someone to help him remove the barriers that seemed so insurmountable to him before, but now Bob is going to be able to have a place to call home. When we are committed to changing systems, when we decide to demand results, and when we invest in people, that is bold. And that is what excites me about the future of United Way. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you to Tom. Thank you to all of those organizations that is going to help actually bring that innovative initiative and put it into practice in the beginning of 2016 And a special thank you to Presentation Partners in Housing, who will be taking the lead initiative on this effort so they can start finding homes for people like Bob. Our second bold goal that we want to share with you today is to help prepare children to succeed. I'd like to direct your attention to the screens in front of you. As you can see, United Way invests heavily in the area of education. Each one of those circles on that timeline represents over 20 organizations, initiatives, and programs in the area of education. And we are going to continue to invest heavily in the area of education. Why? Because the local results of those programs and national research tells us that if we want to help young people to succeed and we want to be a part of a thriving community, then the very best place to invest is in the area of education. But to illustrate this goal and our innovative approach to areas that we've been investing in for a long time, I'd rather like to share a story with you. A story about a third-grade boy named Max. Max goes to school in Moorhead, and he loves school. It's a safe place for him to learn and grow. He enjoys his teachers, and he has many friends. But Max's world can sometimes be stressful. Max's parents are divorced, and they have to work long hours to be able to make ends meet. And sometimes Max is frustrated, and he's tired, and he's overwhelmed, and he acts out emotionally in the classroom. And unfortunately, stories like Max's are not all that uncommon, and it is why United Way has begun to invest in a new program that will put trained behavioral health professionals right in the school so that Max can have real-time help when he needs it. His teachers will now have access to an on-site resource, and Max's fellow students will have an ability to learn without interruption. But the ripple effect of this program goes beyond Max, his teachers, and his fellow students to Max's parents, who would otherwise need to leave work when Max was having a bad day. Parents that participate in this program have reported back to us that they have a 40% reduction in needing to leave the workplace to deal with their child's behavioral issues. Without United Way, and without all of you, this investment wouldn't be possible. This resource wouldn't be possible. So it is by listening, by collaborating, and by acting that we are able to reduce the barriers in the area of education so that we can reach our goal and help prepare children to succeed. Our third bold goal is to help people be independent. We want to help people provide for themselves and their families. All the while, we can lower social service utilization that helps all of us. Now, one of the approaches that we are going to take to achieve this goal is to partner with organizations like the Greater Fargo-Moorhead Economic Development Corporation, the Chamber, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the FM Area Foundation to spearhead a regional workforce study focused on the challenges that many of our businesses and organizations face when it comes to the issue of workforce in this community. This report was released to the community last June, and I want to share with you, you may be asking yourself, why is United Way involved in this work? Isn't that something that traditionally the Chamber or the EDC would do? Yes. But as you know, we do things differently in this community because we believe in the power of collaboration. And we believe that if United Way is at the table with our business partners and our policymaker, the overall strategy for how to deal with this workforce challenge will be better. And so we are there, we are at the table. Now, there were two findings that stood out to us in this study, among many. But for context today, I want to just share with you, for those of you that may not know, one of the things that this study highlighted was that in the next 5 years, we will need 30,000 new and replacement workers to fill the demand for jobs in this community. 30,000. 45% of those workers will be in the entry-level or basic skills category. Furthermore, some of the barriers for us to be able to attract and to retain those workers in this community is the lack of affordable housing and the lack of affordable childcare. So in partnership with the FM Area Foundation, we have been leading 2 working groups over the last 9 months that are comprised of over 50 organizations, individuals, and thought leaders in these respective areas. And I'm here today to tell you that we have been able to create 2 position papers full of innovative strategies that we can put into practice starting in 2016 to be able to reduce those barriers of affordable housing and the lack of childcare. Our 4th bold goal that we want to share with you today is that United Way wants to lift people out of poverty. And I must admit, it may sound somewhat absurd for us at United Way to say that we are going to lift people out of poverty when we don't control rents, wages, the consumer price index, or how much education a person has. The truth of the matter is, United Way just doesn't control a lot of things. But that doesn't mean that we can't take small steps to address this big problem. You see, when we invest in the right strategy at the right time, we can change the trajectory of a person's life. And that's exactly what we've done. So let me just share with you one small example. Beginning in 2013, we began to provide childcare scholarships to children and families in need. And since then, we have helped 221 children access high-quality childcare that they would otherwise have gone without. And here's what we know. We know that those children have improved in their basic academic skills at twice the rate as other children. Their most significant growth area has been in the area of literacy development. Now, I dare say that not only have we helped those children, but we have helped those families, and I'd like to believe that we've actually made a small impact in the area of those 30,000 jobs too. You see, if parents don't have a safe place for their children, they're probably not able to work. The result is that when we make these investments, we're reducing barriers for those children, we're reducing barriers for those families, and we're also helping to address workforce. The bottom line is this: people are living in poverty right here in this community. And at United Way, our team believes that action will always beat good intentions. Now finally, with your help, we will raise $29 million for this community by 2020. And we will invest it in proven programs and initiatives that will help people one by one, all while building systems that will help our entire community. We're going to continue to have annual sprints along the way for our financial goals, but we feel it's important to share with you and to align our financial goals with our 5 bold goals for the community. Because you see, we won't end hunger or homelessness in 1 year, and we won't end poverty in 3, which is why it's important for us to be transparent with all of you about what it's going to cost and how long it's going to take, because we need you if we're going to achieve our goals. We need your support, we need your engagement, we need our dedicated community partners, we need our corporate partners, because it's going to take all of us to accomplish these goals. Now, for those of you that know me best, you know that I would have loved the opportunity to share with you more stats, more stories, and more results from this past year. But I recognize that our time together today is short. So I want you to know that you will receive an email later this afternoon that will have a link to our annual report that will include more stats, more stories, and more results of all of your investments from this past year. Bold. United Way is bold with our goal of raising $29 million by 2020. And we are bold in our goal to lift people out of poverty, to help people be independent, to help children to succeed and to reduce the amount of hunger and homelessness in this community. But we believe it is possible because of all of you. Finally, before I close today, I want to just point out to you that throughout today's event and on the materials in front of you, we are releasing a new hashtag, and it is More Than Charity FM. You see, the definition of charity is an organization that is set up to provide help and to raise money for those in need. The United Way, our partners, and every single one of you are so much more than fundraisers. We are difference makers. And when we act united, we are difference makers for those in need. So I'm inviting you today. I am personally inviting you today to be bold with us. If you believe, like me, that when we act united, that we are more than charity, be bold with us and help us to achieve these 5 bold goals and our vision for this community for 2020. Thank you so very much.
Cher, I know you're thinking right now, Tonya, this was not on the agenda for me to come back up on stage. But it would be remiss if I did not take a moment to thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done for United Way and for our community. And truly, I believe I wear 3 hats. One, being on the board as the campaign chair. You have led the organization. When you came in 5 years ago, it was about 5 years changing the investment strategy and setting these bold goals. You've led an amazing team, and they have great things ahead of them, and they're going to continue to meet those bold goals. And didn't we say 10 million the first year? So as a board member, as a volunteer, truly, the support and the love that you have for what the volunteers do in our community is amazing. And third is as a friend over 10 years. Truly, it's been amazing to get to work with you on both sides. And behind the scenes, not many people get to know who supports you when you're not here. We don't know really what the next step of the road is for you, but we do know.
I don't either.
I know. The first step we know is that you're going to spend time with your children.
Yeah.
Heath and Pierce.
Yeah.
And because of that, I thought it would be great to have a moment for Joel, her husband, and her children, and her parents to come on stage to help us thank Cher for everything that she's done for our community. We so appreciate it. So come on up, family.
You're killing me. Come on. Well, a little unexpected, I must tell you. Tonya, you do this to me a lot, dear friend. You know, while I have this moment, I guess what I would say is thank you. This is my last annual meeting today, but it is also a first for me, and that I've never had my parents at a meeting before, so I would just take this moment to say, Mom and Dad, thank you for instilling in me the work ethic and the belief in helping others. Thank you to Heath and Pierce for the joy that you bring to my life every single day. Thank you to my life partner, Joel. You are my rock in all things. And most especially, thank you to all of you for your belief in our work. I have truly been privileged to serve as the leader and a caretaker for this organization for the last 5 years, and it is something that I will be forever grateful for. And so as we bring our time together to a close today, let's go and live united, and let's be bold. Thank you. Hey, buddy.
Thank you.